talking about communications. And I just wanted to really talk about, and I don't know, I just want to talk about stories about why it's so important to know how to communicate. Yeah, because there's always this concept with a lot of people, especially this.
Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind where.
Hello, beautiful people. So today's video is gonna be why is communication so hard? At least for me, just to pretty much my perspective on that. And would love if you guys like it, if you did, and comment below. Thank you so much. This constant concept that a lot of Gen Zs are antisocial, or not antisocial, but they lack the skill of being able to communicate correctly. And I just want to talk about my experience, that me being part of it, and kind of maybe give you another outlook to that. You know, it's not as easy as it used to be for probably other generations. So I just want to give you an outlook, a different perspective, per se. First off, I really want to emphasize language is Spanish. I learned Spanish really young age, and of course I was born here, but my parents, they gave me like this is what Mexican bubble until I went to school. Once I went into school, like the Mexican bubble burst, but I was in a Mexican bubble. Like I didn't know a lick of English, even though I was living here in America. I didn't know a lick of English. So that here's giving you like a backstory. So first day I went to preschool. It was first day I went to preschool. That's when my bubble started popping. I remember. And first memories that I get from preschool was that when I was more in preschool, the way they were teaching students, they're already teaching students how to count into the ABCs, right? But once again, I didn't know anything. I didn't know no English, right? So, and there was no teachers. Didn't know no English, and there was no teachers that spoke Spanish. So it was very a weird situation. I feel like it's like, okay, we're gonna get in line. And I thought, one of the first things I remember learning was how to say my name. One of the basic things I learned how to say my name. That I remember was when they used to put us in like a line, ABC order by last name. I don't know why they do that, but they do. And each person had to say like a letter that was, the alphabet, so go in order kind of thing. And I would be always the last one because my last name the V, so I would be always like the last one. And whenever they got to me, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I was so confused. It's like, what? When I was first learning English, whenever I learned a word, I would be repeating, and that's the only thing I would repeat. So when I learned how to say my name, so when we're doing this alphabet, got to me, and I think I was supposed to say W or something like that, but no, I did Catherine. As loud as I can, I yelled it out, Catherine, because she kept looking at me, and I kept screaming it. So I was like, she wants to know my name. I said Catherine, and then she's like, what? No, like let her. And I'm like, what? I was so angry at the fact that she didn't realize what else I was like, I'm right or not. So I ran off the classroom, and I think I almost went outside. Like we were pretty close to where I live, so I was about to run home, I think, but they caught me. Dang it, I wasn't able to get away, but that's one of the first stories of some language barriers that just continued my journey with. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people, I know a lot of people speaks like a different language. I feel like you get personalities, right? Get some personalities with each language, I know in Spanish I'm like way louder than I am in English. English I'm very monotone. Spanish I'm not, once but yeah, so this and now let's go to another story where I would go to. Well, I mean, we're gonna advance a little bit more, because I mean, pretty much kindergarten, still didn't know no English. Yeah, didn't know no English, absolutely none. I was learning a little bit more. I knew most of I didn't really know that much. I'll be completely honest. I don't know how I passed that grade, but I passed that grade somehow. And I'm like, okay. I remember getting in trouble all the time with the teacher, but it wasn't because I didn't speak English, it was because I never paid attention. But once again, I didn't understand what she was trying to tell me, so like, how do you want me to know what you're yelling at me? Even my brother didn't like her. He called her a witch in Spanish. And then go, advance a little bit more. First grade, that's where stuff started getting hard because we're gonna read, and that's when I was starting to get a little comfortable with actually talking in Spanish. So everything that came up in my head, I'll speak it all the time. Everything. I was like, and of course, when I was learning, you raise your hand whenever you want to speak. So I would raise my hand for any other story that you ever talked about, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. I loved being able to be in a classroom and raising my hand, wanted to be that person all the time. And I remember all that time that, I don't know, kind of, I don't think she mean to, but she made me feel like I was annoying the crap out of her. I probably was, to be completely honest, because I did it all the time. I interrupted her so much during class. But yeah. And of course, that was a grade where I didn't pass, to be completely honest. But yeah, I was that grade, I think. But they're like, no, it's really like she can't understand it, so she needs another year to be able to learn English. So they, pulled me back a year, which sucked because I went to school where Lower Elementary during that time, there was only like 30 people per grade. 30 people per grade, right? And of course, it was slowly like got smaller. There was only 30 people per grade, right? And so when they noticed I didn't pass, that was traumatic. I was like, oh, am I dumb? I always assumed I was just dumb. I was like, why can't I understand this language? It was not my fault, let's be honest. Most of the people there was a lot of people who did speak Spanish and English, and I was just like, why can't I speak it? And they can speak it perfectly. Like, what's wrong with me? You know what I mean? And honestly, the difference was they were able to practice and speak because they had older siblings, and I never had that. I was like the oldest, which sucked, let's be honest. But yeah, first grade, they're like, okay, she probably needs help, and they got me most amazing teacher ever. Loved her, absolutely. Yeah, she was like my speech teacher, helped me speak English and read, and helped me speak it better because I was not pronouncing a lot of stuff right. I just associated like being able to communicate with being able to be smart. I associate those two. Like, I went because of, if you ever get held back because of a language, you don't have no clue how traumatic that was, but that's traumatic, especially when you're that young. I don't know, I just really assumed it was because I'm dumb, I was like, damn, I am so dumb because I cannot speak English. So, years later, created like this kind of scarcity with speaking English. Yeah, like I really did not want to. I didn't want to speak it unless I had to. You know what I mean? I spoke it. It got worse as I grew up. I became very silent. Whenever I had to speak in English, I tried to avoid it as much as possible because I just assumed I wasn't smart enough. And then yeah, that's when I started, like in middle school, I think, is when I started getting that trauma base. I'm like, oh, I'm not smart enough to speak English. I shouldn't speak it, blah, 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 blah. And I honestly, it was also like, it didn't help. Well, it was middle school once again. During that time, we had like, I want to say 20 students in my class. So they started, making groups, cliques, and I just started to assume, oh, it's because I can't speak. I associated a lot of my problems with not being able to speak English perfectly, which sucks, but it happens. I noticed that I wasn't, able to communicate English even though, like, fear of people. I'm not even gonna lie, that's what it was. It was a fear of people. And Spanish, I did not have that fear. Like, Spanish, I could talk all the time. I was, my normal self, like the one, So I was like, I need to get rid of this fear. I need to. So when I turned 16, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go find a job. Found a job really close to me. Didn't tell anyone. Where another journey of my communication starts. Ooh, that was a little harsh. I learned a lot of stuff though. It was like working there because working there. It was kind of backing off, so it was like 3 years. Took 2 years breaks and 3 years more of their working there. And I started to notice that this me not being able to communicate is worse than I ever thought, because I was very much scared to communicate with the customers. And I'm just gonna tell you, I worked at Subway, so the customers order, you have to ask them like a million questions to be able to get their order. That was hard, and I also would apologize constantly. That's the only word I knew how to say. I would say, oh, I'm sorry, and I'll end up throwing away a lot of food because I would mess up so bad. Of course, I wasn't communicating. But yeah, after like I said, like in the process of 3 years of doing that job, I was able to get comfortable. And I feel like if you truly have a fear of something, just find a job that makes you do it every single day, and then you get to the point where you're super comfortable and you don't care. That's how I got. It took me 6 years. I'm not gonna lie, it did take me a while, and it's really still a work in progress for me because I'm still not that comfortable communicating with people. But I'm way more comfortable than I used to be. Like, I was so shy, so scared of everything. I'm not gonna lie, I was scared of people. Yeah, it was real phobia of people. Like, I did not want to talk to anyone. Like, no, thank you. Then I was like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna be perfect once I go to college because I'm able to communicate and work. So I mean, college is not gonna be any different. And plus, I was gonna decided to do 2 years community college here because one, it's cheaper. Yeah. And two, I didn't know what to study yet, so I was like, I'll just do 2 years in community college. I'll be here at home, and I'll have a job, bam, 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 So I did my first year at community college. Let me tell you, that was interesting because I graduated in a class of 14. I knew every single person from kindergarten. I knew everyone. We knew each other, even though I didn't want to talk. We would hang out. You know what I mean? Know each other that much, but we were comfortable with each other. We could depend on each other. And most of them decided not to continue their education. They decided to just go different routes. Most of them, of course. So, or decided to go to actual university. I was the only few who actually decided to go to the community college. And let me tell you, that was another interesting because I don't know, community college is like different for me because not only was my high school like only 14 people, but it was also like mostly white people. And a few like I did have like a cousin who graduated with me and also like a friend. It's gonna be the first day of college, right? So excited. I was like, yes, finally getting out of high school, kindergarten to graduation, right? So I was like kind of like done. I was like, okay, I need to change. Like I love you guys, but I want something different. I want to meet new people. I want diversity. I want to be able to find a friend who I can speak in Spanish with. And I was like, okay, awesome. This will be great. I'm gonna love this, right? Nope. That customer service in practice that I got from the job didn't help at all because now the problem was yes, I can talk to anyone I wanted, but how do you make friends? That's a different subject, right? It's like, how do you make friends? Like I didn't even have to try in I didn't even have to try in high school or middle school or anything. Like we were kind of forced into a friendship. Like when I went to college, it was like a different game because I was like, what? Now I need to make friends. I don't know anyone. So that was very much interesting. First semester, I'm not gonna lie, that was tough for me. That was a tough transition. I didn't know how to speak to new people. I didn't know how to speak to the professors, even the professors. I was like, what? This is weird because I would have like the same teachers every year, you know what I mean? The same history teacher for my 4 years, the same math teacher for the 4 years. I'm telling you, I went to a small school, so meeting new people and making friends is a whole different ball game, and I didn't realize that. I was like, okay, I can communicate. I know how to do the basic, break the ice kind of thing. But how do you continue that? Like that's a different thing. I didn't know that, right? But I was like, okay, you know how to communicate. Yeah, first semester that was better. It was just like a harsh realization that I still don't know how to communicate correctly. Like I'm still not scared of people, but I'm noticeably still wanting to avoid people. Yeah, I didn't make any friends first semester of community college, so yeah, that was it. Second semester, that's a different ballgame. We got a new English professor. Ooh, I started a class that was called Interpersonal Communications. Best class ever, honestly. It was either that one or options where I could choose interpersonal communication, or we only spoke once for 3 minutes, and bam, you're done. And then the second option was where you would. I should have probably taken that one too, but I was not ready for that. Where you had to speak every week of that class. Every single week, end of the week, you would have to speak, and it would gradually get they'll add 4 more minutes to it. So, for example, first week they'll do like 1 minute speech, and then counselor, she's like, okay, we have another option. You can take interpersonal, and that counts as well. And I'm like, okay, say less. Yeah, I'll do that. And so I decided to take that class, and I decided, hey, this is my one goal. I'm gonna make a friend in college, and that's my one goal. So that was great. So I was like, okay, I went into that. I'm like, I'm gonna go early so I can be the first person in there. And And plus, I always got lost. I was like, I'm just gonna find it first, and I'm gonna stay there by my seat and not move. So, and whoever goes in there second, I'm gonna talk to them. That's what I said. Whoever is the second person to go in, I'm gonna talk to them. I don't care who it is, but I'm gonna talk to them, and I'm gonna be there for go. When I was, so I decided that was my one plan for that semester. As I was walking to class, I noticed there was actually someone in there already. There was someone already in the class. So I was like, I know this is a class, but I'm just gonna double check. And I asked her, is this class blah 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 blah? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh cool. And I just started making conversation with her. Like, I started complimenting her. I was like, that's the one thing I knew how to do because of customer service. Get better tips if you compliment. So I started like, I'll compliment him. So I started complimenting, and we just continued the conversation, and it was great. I made my first friend. I was like, yeah. And then after that, more people came in, and oh my god, it was only like 4 people. It was amazing. 4 people in that class. No, there's 6. There's 6 people. 6 people in that class, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. There were 6 people in that class. It was so amazing, and it reminded me so much of high life. So I was like, this is awesome. I started speaking to everybody. I spoke to every single person, and I complimented them, and I'm like, I also asked about the test, all that stuff. I was like, I was breaking the ice. I was talking to everybody, and that was great. So in that class was great because she actually wanted us to be able to communicate, and she actually spoke the different ways of communication. That's where I actually learned about active listening. I didn't know that was a thing. I was like, whoa, that's mind-blowing. For researching a lot of that stuff and the different variations of communication and the ways she broke it down of how to communicate, also how and like kind of enforce that kind of enforce everything that she gave, the knowledge she gave us in whatever I learned from the book. I actually tried it in real life and actually started working. And then once I also realized that a lot of the people who were in that class were taking my English class. It was awesome. So I made a friend. I was making friends. I was like, yeah, friends. So I should probably say that, but yeah, I was like, yeah, friends. So that was great. Second semester was great. Third semester was also great because most of my classmates were taking the second English part. Yeah, the second English part. And then we were also taking literature. We're taking literature, so we that was amazing. And then after that, COVID happened, and we had to go online. And oh my gosh, let me tell you, that was horrible. I was not learning. I didn't care about education anymore. I was like, I don't care for this. I did not care. Now it's just time for me to go to university. I know what I want to do, and I've got most of my basics, so I'll be okay. So I was like, I'll go to university, and I did. I went to university, and let me tell you, you'd think I'd be prepared. I was like, okay, I did everything that I needed. I was like, I'm prepared. I'm good. I know how to speak to everybody. I know how to make friends. I'm gonna be okay. I know what I have to do. I went, and let me tell you. Okay, I want you guys to know what I was studying. Okay, I'm still studying. Currently taking a break because kind of to be a civil engineer, so I went to an engineering college university. It was science. It's science technology. Literally has it on its name. Science technology college, right? I have roommates. We didn't speak the whole entire summer before classes started, so we didn't know nothing about each other. We knew the basics because we spoke a little bit, like we just said the stuff we liked, just to know what kind of person we liked. But we didn't speak at all. I didn't speak at all with my roommates, and we each had like a room, and then we had a shared living room. So it was that kind of type of dorm. And then I also started realizing a lot of people, when I started taking classes, a lot of people from that college had how do I don't know how to say it, but they were very bad at communicating. Sometimes they wouldn't even stare at you like that. You know what I mean? Or they're just very bad or very blunt. I don't know. didn't know how to communicate, and honestly, I could tell they didn't want to make any friends. Well, at least with me. So I was like, okay, I'm stuck. So first semester was hard, like always. Didn't make friends with my roommates. Didn't make much friends with anyone in class. I would start conversations, but I could tell they were annoyed with me. Can I just say something? People are constantly on their phone. Like, I think I started getting addicted to my phone because of that. Because I would see everybody be in their phone, constantly staring at it during class after class. You know, waiting for class to start, kind of stuff, all the time. And I've just, okay, I need to look at my phone, even though I really just wanted to talk to people. So sadly, half of my video completely cut off the audio, so I'm gonna have to redo that part. But I said, might as well just do a two-parter, and I'll upload it next week, hopefully. And if you did enjoy it, please like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any advice for me. I would love it. Love to see you next time. Bye.